Hello there. Welcome everyone to the CryptoWave Show. Now, this is going to be a very different kind of show to what you guys are used to me delivering. This show is really more of a talk show about all the relevant things that have happened in the cryptocurrency space over the past couple of weeks. And hopefully we're going to bundle them into a kind of package that is the show so that you guys can stay up to date with some of the latest arguments that are taking place in the cryptocurrency space, some of the things that are happening right now, and what we're looking at moving forward. So let's take it from the top. Without further ado, let's dive into the show. And the best place for me to start is by introducing our co-hosts. So let's dive into it. Just a quick introduction to yourself so people can get familiar with who's talking. Egon, do you want to take it away?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm the technical guy behind All in Crypto, the website and everything else. So I've been forced a little bit to be on the show. I'm joking, but we're going to have
He's not joking.
Fun here. No joking.
He's not joking. He has been forced to be here. Yeah, and Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm excited to be a part of the All in Crypto family and a co-host. My journey in blockchain started a few years ago during the NFT boom, and I was creating music NFTs. Down the rabbit hole I went, and here I am. I'm excited to be here.
There's no turning back now, I'm afraid, Sarah. We've got you. You're now captured. You're in the cryptocurrency space, pretty permanently now. So we've got a lot to get into. So we don't want to waste too much time. We're going to be covering some really interesting things. I, of course, want to start with what this year has in store for us, what some of the changes are as it relates to the cryptocurrency space going into 2025. But before we do that, I really want to introduce to you guys a new way for you to interact with us. And I'm going to let Egon explain how you guys can send us voice snippets of your questions that every show will not only play, but we'll get round to answering. So do you want to show people how this works, Egon?
Absolutely. So we created a platform so you can send your audio request. We're going to play it on the show. So make sure to go to connect.allincrypto.com. We're going to put that on the description of this video. And what you can do here is you can record any request that you want. So with this form, you can upload your voice recording or record it directly on the website and send to us. So in the next show, we may play your questions. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to do.
What could go wrong? So the reason that we're doing them pre-recorded and not live is rather obvious. If anybody's been in Twitter spaces or things like that, when people have came up on stage, there's always jokers everywhere. And of course, we can appreciate the humor of it. But this is YouTube. We want to try and keep things as PG as possible. So we are going to do them pre-recorded, but it's going to be really cool to actually hear what you guys have to say, hear your questions coming from your mouths, and we'll of course play them on the show, and we'll give an answer to whatever it is when it relates to the cryptocurrency space. Send them in, we'll answer them. Some of you may want to know about what I'm personally investing in. Some of you may want to know, what's the biggest kind of trends that we see coming for the crypto space? What do we think about DePIN? How does AI and crypto interact? Whatever it may be, you might be inspired by some of what we talk about throughout this show, but get those voice snippets sent in. And I think the best place for us to start this show is with the year ahead of us. Now, we are 10 days into 2025 so far. From a price point of view, it's been a little bit lackluster. January, I tend to find, is always like that. However, there's a real promise, certainly with Trump's campaign, of 2025 being the year that crypto really takes hold and integrates itself witin the United States. And I think the best place for us to start is with one of the biggest announcements, and that is in regards to the new SEC chair. I'm going to pull up a slide here. This is Donald J. Trump himself saying, "I am delighted to announce the nomination of Paul Atkins to be the next SEC chair. Paul is a proven leader for common sense regulations. We know he's actually against over-regulations, overbearing regulations, which a lot of the Western governments seem to implement. He believes in the promise of robust, innovative capital markets that are responsive to the needs of investors and provide capital to make our economy the best in the world. He also recognizes that digital assets and other innovations are crucial to making America greater than ever before. Paul is the CEO and co-founder of Panamac Global Partners, a risk management consultancy, a co-chair of the Digital Chamber Token Alliance since 2017. So he's been into the cryptocurrency space since 2017. Very different, and actually an ambassador for it, to the SEC chair that we're going to be saying goodbye to. And we're all very proud, or very happy, I think, to see the back end of the tyrannical Gary Gensler. He'll, of course,
Yeah, finally.
on the 20th. Absolutely. What do you guys think about Gary Gensler, by the way? Are you a fan of him? Are you not a fan?
Oof, I would say absolutely not. It was a big pain for crypto in this year.
Yeah, not a fan. I agree.
Okay, so the jury's out then. We don't like Gary Gensler. I certainly am not a fan of him, and I don't think he's done anything to protect US investors. I think, in fact, the opposite has been true. If you look at the Luna situation, if you look at the FTX situation, if you look at some of the various other things, Celsius, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but he was speaking positively about crypto years before.
When he was, of course, at MIT. A lot of people don't even know that. That's a great point you bring up there, Egon.
You know, and why he has changed his approach. This is my question.
It's interesting. There's lots of conspiracies flying around the place. You know, he's obviously an ex-Goldman Sachs kind of traditional banking sector prodigy, if you will. And of course, it's very common that these guys end up with regulatory positions. So perhaps is he doing it to protect the industry that he came from? I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Or maybe someone is say to him, you need to stick with the plan that SEC has.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. There's a lot of documents out there that actually do point at way before, we were in 2025 being the year of crypto adoption. It seems interesting how things are kind of aligning in regards to actually that taking place and Gensler being thrown out, I'm sure, to go and get a very cushy job somewhere else. So to stick back to Paul, he's obviously been in the space. He's a co-chairman of the Digital Chamber Token Alliance since 2017. That was when I kind of entered the crypto space as an investor. But of course, Silk Road were the treacherous days. Before that, I was certainly perhaps playing with Bitcoin. He has worked on and studied the digital asset industry, a former SEC commissioner from 2002 to 2008. Paul strongly advocates for transparency and protecting investors. He earned a DJ, keep getting that wrong, don't I? DJ Vance. I know many of you people laugh at that. JD Vance, or JD, sorry, from Vanderbilt University School of Law, and his AB from Wofford College. Something. I don't even know if that's in English, the second half here. I can barely even read English, let alone a different language. Congratulations to Paul. So this is huge news for the entire industry, certainly for the SEC and everything else. Have we got any thoughts on Paul? Anything you guys want to share in regards to what you know about Paul and why he might be positive for this space?
It's very difficult. On my side, I little know about him in detail. Yeah, being part of the Chamber of Digital Commerce is a big thing for crypto, for sure. So let's hope he will do something special for this year. It's going to be a huge year. Let's be honest. 2025, I expect to be a really positive year in every country, not only USA.
We're expecting fireworks. And Sarah?
Yeah. Do you think that this could speed up ETF approvals beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum? Like, what kind of ETFs could possibly be introduced with him taking this position?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and something we really want to come on to. We want to look at what kind of ETFs are likely to come this year. Some of the giants, as it comes to, or when it relates to watching the ETF sector, have chimed in on this. There's some sort of surprises in that. We will look at all that. But I think ETFs are far more likely to get put forward under Paul than they were, obviously, Gary Gensler. We saw his kind of negativity or real negativity towards ETFs, which doesn't make much sense because ETFs are actually, if you're all about the traditional sector, why wouldn't you put the custody of crypto and the kind of oversight of crypto into the traditional sector's hands? Why would you leave that to the kind of free market and some of the catastrophes that we've seen? So, yeah, I think Paul generally is going to be pretty brilliant for the space, but certainly for the integration of the traditional financial sector and the cryptocurrency space. And the traditional financial sector is really going to leverage crypto to make America great, make the sort of global financial system as a whole.
Yeah, and speaking to that, what project do you expect having an ETF in 2025?
Yeah, so I do want to come on to that in just a second. I also want to show you why this is such a big deal. Now, we know we've seen all the flows. There's more, and this is a staggering stat for me. There's more Bitcoin in US ETFs than there are pretty much held by anyone or anything. So Bitcoin ETFs hold more Bitcoin than Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet. Satoshi has about 1.1 million Bitcoin. The ETFs are above and beyond that. I do want to explore that. Before we dive over and we move on from Paul, I do want to share this with you, because not only has Paul got links to the cryptocurrency space in regards to what we've just mentioned, he's also on the board of Securitize. Now, Securitize are partnered with BlackRock in regards to tokenizing money market funds and various other things. But they do that through leveraging various cryptocurrencies. So XRP's been mentioned, Algorand's been mentioned. Paul, when you really look into it, has a hell of a lot more connections to this space, rather interestingly, and maybe that's why he was picked, than what's kind of at surface level. But do you want to repeat the question, Egon, and then we'll look at, what's likely to come this year?
Yeah, there's a list of crypto that's more probably going to be announced as an ETF this year. It's going to be Hedera, XRP, Cardano, Solana. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so we have the likes of Eric Balanchunas and others out there really chiming in on what ETFs they think are going to come. Some have already been filed for, like Solana, obviously XRP, Hedera, which is one of our favorite cryptocurrencies. We're not ashamed to say that. In fact, we're over the moon and very proud to say that. And a few others out there, like Bitwise, have filed for their trust to be converted. Grayscale have filed for their trust to be converted into an ETF. There's a number of ETFs already in the pipelines. I want to look at what analysts have to say about this. But before I do that, really what I want to do is dive over to this clip here that talks about actually why ETFs are potentially so important. And it references the kind of capital that's out there that once an ETF is approved will be unlocked. So let's dive into this clip quickly before we look at what's probable in regards to ETFs this year.
That was like just a little taste. There's so much pent-up demand, right? And if you think about like the $200 trillion of assets in this world that are behind what I'll call like the institutional gateway. So when you talk to like family offices, which have huge flexibility, 100% are in some way in cryptocurrency. But any of these other institutional funds, they can't touch this stuff unless it's an ETF or some other kind of regulatory blessed activity. So yeah, I think that was just a taste of what is coming.
So the real interesting thing, I think, is we've seen the kind of capital that's unlocked and allowed to flow into Bitcoin so far. If you look at actually exchange-traded products, the bull market that we all remember in 2021 has been engulfed in regards to inflows, and that's really came on the back end of the unlocking or the breaking down of the dam that is getting a exchange-traded product, specifically an ETF, over the line. Again, Bitcoin has... It's the fastest growing ETF ever. Ethereum isn't doing too badly. There we go again. But ultimately, really with an ETF, you're going to break down a lot of the barriers that there are to entry for a lot of this large capital. And that was an individual from EY actually talking about this. What ETFs are likely coming around the corner? Sarah, I don't know if you've got any kind of suggestions in regards to what you think's on the horizon.
Well, from what I've been researching, Solana, Litecoin, XRP, and HBAR are all possibilities of ETFs that could be coming down the pipe. Yeah. I'm curious too I have a question about, could there be any custody concerns? Like Bitcoin ETF, for example, require custodians like Coinbase to hold large amounts of Bitcoin. So could they concentrate control over a significant portion of the supply? Could that potentially affect the price?
Very interesting. I think so. I think we're already seeing concentration in regards to supply. Coinbase, for me, is very much becoming the crypto bank. I think they're going to become a bank more broadly eventually, and there's all this speculation on the back end of that. But in regards to custody and control, this is absolutely an institutional takeover. And if you look at what the ethos of the Bitcoin white paper was it was about self-sovereignty, self-custody, a peer-to-peer monetary system. And actually, if you look at where Bitcoin is today, it's so far removed from that. And Roger Ver has a lot to say on this, that actually Bitcoin has morphed into no longer being a currency, but actually now being a kind of speculative asset, a digital gold, if you will. And just like with how assets typically go, they end up very consolidated and concentrated in a small number of hands. And I think that's going to be your BlackRock and things like that. Is that concerning from a price point of view? Potentially not. I think it's going to see the price do well, because if they custody it, they hold it, they make fees on it, they're going to likely propagate it. But is it a concern from a kind of freedom libertarian point of view? I think it is. But I think we're not following the original ethos. It's interesting that the crypto space evolved to kind of combat the traditional financial system. The opposite is now true. It's actually enhancing it and going to extend its kind of reach and intrusion,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also going to make it much easier for people that don't understand crypto and that are kind of scared of crypto to get into the space without having to go through the exchanges or worrying about maybe the extreme price volatility. So I see that as a positive too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a whole discussion right now, is what's the, we've followed this 4-year cycle, and we've typically had these, really amazing bull markets that give us unbelievable returns, certainly on altcoins. And then we've had this real crash. Are we going to continue to see that cycle, which is all centered around the halving? I think in some way, shape, or form, yes. But is the volatility going to reduce as this asset class grows? I think it's rather likely. And
stopping you for a second, we mentioned Coinbase. What do you think about Coinbase 50 index? Because there's a list of crypto, I think, that can plausibly fill an ETF.
Yeah. So Coinbase index is really the predecessor for what you're going to see in regards to ETFs.
So is there a list of potential new ETF upcoming in this year? Also the well-known that we already spoken, but there are smaller ones that are really, really interesting,
I think so. And I definitely want to dive into some of those. I think one interesting thing that you bring up there is with the Coinbase 50. The Coinbase 50 is essentially going to morph into like an S&P 500 or an EU 50 or a FTSE 100, or I know it's 50, but the numbers will vary. You'll see those products form as it relates to the cryptocurrency space, because ultimately, if you're new to crypto, you might not know what to invest in, whereas you can track the space generally and its returns through Coinbase 50. There's going to be a Coinbase 20. There might be a Coinbase 10. We know that Grayscale offer their digital large cap fund. We know that Bitwise have a top 10 crypto index. Obviously, 21 Shares do the same thing. Coinbase 50 is very interesting because that will morph in the future into an ETF, quite likely, or potentially not. But I think more positively it will do. Talking about ETFs coming this year, the first place I want to start is with recent news about a rejection. Now, we know that 2 of the 5, and I think that the other 5 did actually get rejected. Solana ETFs were actually rejected, the filings for that. We got confirmation of this, and that's obviously under the current regulatory environment. However, that is changing in approximately 10 days. So a Solana ETF for now is very much out of the question. And what I really like to do on the topic of ETFs, if I go ahead and share another screen, is look at somebody who's probably far more experienced in this sort of stuff, actually talking about ETFs and what ETFs he thinks are likely to come. And this is, of course, Eric Balanchunas. He's the man to follow when it comes to ETFs. We expect a wave of crypto ETFs next year, albeit not all at once. First out is likely BTC plus ETH combo. We don't currently have those. So we do have, I think, futures on that, but no spot ETFs. So combination, again, talking about Coinbase 50. That's a basket of cryptos, likely going to get a basket in a very short form or a small form coming. And then probably Litecoin, which I don't think was on many people's bingo cards, but that's obviously because it's a fork of Bitcoin and it's essentially a commodity. It's interesting. We'll talk about X payments and Doge and things like this in just a second. But Litecoin, a lot of people don't realize this, is the Litecoin mining consensus is sort of, that's how Dogecoin is mined. Then Hedera, which is very interesting because it's not labeled a security, also Canary Capital, then XRP and Solana after these. And he cites reasons that they've both been labeled securities in pending lawsuits. Lots of cryptos have been labeled as securities thus far. And then, of course, he's referencing James Seyfarth. James Seyfarth goes further and talks about new issuers, Canary, that were fundamental in getting a Bitcoin ETF over the line. So these are the ones I think are probable, but I don't see any reason why there couldn't be a slew of other ETFs. You know, if these get approved, why not approve a ASI, which was previously Fetch AI ETF, and just have a sort of AI sector? You know, what other cryptos would you guys like to see ETFs for?
Definitely AI. I wouldn't be surprised if, that's going to be the natural evolvement of ETFs just because of how big that industry is becoming. So yeah, I agree with you on Fetch.
Certainly with the crypto czar.
Yeah, I will go with more compute, compute, data storage. It's a big thing. It's a part of the economy. We know Google, we know many of these companies use compute. I think that, it's a 2.0 Silicon Valley in some ways. I think it's natural that they have to be filled in some way sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. Is decentralized computing and storage going to kind of disrupt the techno-feudalistic system that we currently live in? This is a great sort of debate to have. And actually, there's lots of sectors in the crypto space. We're going to come on to gaming towards the end, but you might have a Web3 gaming ETF with the top gaming products in it. You might have a AI sector as it relates to crypto ETF. Why not? We've got the crypto and AI czar, who is now, of course, David Sachs, who is now been appointed. These are things that are going to be looked at. Paul Atkins is obviously very friendly towards the cryptocurrency space. Yeah, okay, listen to Eric Balanchunas. These are the ETFs that are likely going to come first. But actually, I think there's no reason why you can't facilitate providing the demands there, because ultimately these institutions want the fees. ETFs more broadly, and I think you're going to see a lot of the space get rolled up into ETFs and ultimately gobbled up in that kind of institutional way. This was something also interesting. Grayscale looks to convert its digital large cap fund into an ETF. So again, talking about your Coinbase 50, we're already seeing, for example, Bitwise doing a similar thing. Top 10 basket indexes for crypto already filing and looking to facilitate ETFs. So we're going to see a slew of these, I believe, in the next year or so. So I don't know if either of you have any sort of more thoughts on that or any questions you want to ask moving forwards.
I will go to the next topic, that is X payments. Twitter bringing payment, and this is a big thing, because if you see the model role of payment right now is transitioning from buying a license to have a subscription in every service that you use. And I think crypto can be very positive here. I think Elon Musk with payment, X payment, is going to be something really interesting.
And Sarah, have you sort of came across this topic before? What do you think about this?
Yeah, so when I was reading about it, I saw that there was some code leaked that they want to move forward with X payments, even though it hasn't been approved by like 50 states, but they're still like, we're going to do this. And also code was leaked about the potential payment would be used with Dogecoin. So, I mean, whether that's a rumor or speculation, I'm here for it. I hope it's Dogecoin. I have a nice bag of Dogecoin that I've been collecting for a while. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to work. And just like overall, how is this going to look? What's the interface going to be? What can we use the payments for? Do you have any insights into that? Like how it might look and possibly what the payments will be? How, like, can creators be paid? Like, all in crypto, are you paid for your content? Can we pay for our subscriptions? Those kinds of issues.
Yeah, it's Pandora's box, I think, really, when we get into all of this. One thing for me to share straight away, I know Egon was sharing some of the leaked code back there, but another thing to share is actually last year, in January, they actually launched their X Money Twitter account, which we have here. And they've not posted anything on it just yet, but this, of course, is a hint at what's to come. And we know that Elon Musk has had ambitions to create this kind of X company, which is what PayPal sort of initially started off of. Of course, Elon Musk has came from the PayPal mafia, along with Peter Thiel and a number of other individuals. Peter Thiel actually was an investor in OneCoin, which was it OneCoin or was it OpenCoin? I can't quite remember, guys, but that essentially became Ripple. And obviously the founders of Ripple were, of course, Arthur, Chris Larson, and of course, Jed McCaleb, then went on to found XLM. So some people sort of saying that XRP, XLM, and is there something there? I think, that's kind of a loose association there just because the lettering, there's an X in it. But we know Elon Musk absolutely has ambitions to create a payment system, almost a global payment system.
And let's remember that Elon Musk founded PayPal as one of the most successful digital payment system. So he has experience in this field.
Yeah, he does indeed.
This is massive, really, really massive.
Right.
And what? After you, Sarah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, and this could possibly make crypto transactions more mainstream if he successfully launches this. Other platforms might adopt it, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, and let's not forget that he's a good friend with Trump, who is coming, and we'll be discussing later on for sure.
So a great point on that was we have seen another tech company try and go down the routes of payments and other such things with Facebook, or Meta as it's now called, with their project. Now their project essentially was stopped by the government, and the developers of that, of course, subsequently half of them went to go and found Aptos, the other half went to go and found Sui. So we have seen another company try and do this before because they realized the potential of it, but the government, who obviously have control over many people out there through the systems that they have in place, said, no, we can't give you that power. We're going to stop you. But actually, now Elon Musk is on the government's, he's part of government, basically, as far as Trump's concerned. He's not going to have those barriers. So it's very likely that he's going to implement that. I think one question for us to try and ask is what cryptos are going to be a part of it. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts. What cryptos do you envision being a part of this? Why would he not use crypto? What is he going to do? Use the old system? Yeah. He's going to go on to a new one.
Yeah, this is a big question because as he chooses to build on payments on crypto, for sure can choose a certain project. But there are many companies, let's say Spotify, YouTube can also go forward on this road. What they will use, I really don't know. If it's going to be a already built crypto, maybe they do a layer 2 on this layer 1. It's going to be really interesting. Sarah, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, maybe different companies come up with their own coin for their platform.
Yes. Yeah, but the thing is, it's hard to build a coin.
Right.
So you have to test it out, see if there's no bags or vulnerabilities. This is payment that millions of people use every day, so have to be secure and tested. I think it's not easy to launch a coin like this. It's more easy for maybe smaller companies to go with something already built.
That would probably make more sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of unanswered questions, I think. And I personally think something like XRP, XLM are likely going to be involved. I think they're going to be the real rails that payments are done on in the future. He has previously mentioned hash algorithms and consensuses. There was one, he gave an interview, I think when Tesla first bought Bitcoin, where he actually mentioned that Bitcoin is just not it for payments. Of course, we know he spoke about making Dogecoin.
Yeah. And he don't like Bitcoin at all. You know why? He was done an interview and saying that you cannot use Bitcoin on Mars because it's too slow. The distance is too wide to make a transaction, and the time will be infinite, like 1 hour to have a transaction. So he doesn't like it. He wants something instant that he can use on his planet Mars. Let's call it like this.
I call it Neverland because I don't think we're ever going to get there. But that's for another different, a totally different.
Let's not go there.
Debate. Let's not trigger.
No, absolutely.
So, did we ever go to the moon or not? I don't know. We're still having that conversation. One thing he has done is of course, express his real concerns towards doing this. And of course, the H-Bar Bull, who we love, Brandon, by the way, big shout out to him. Go give him a follow. Tweeted this just the other day. Never forget this. And he references an Elon Musk tweet in 2020 with the H bar symbol. Maybe we're reading too much into that. Just something interesting to sort of share with you guys before we move on to our next topic. But before we do that, I mean, this is huge. Let's just outline why this is so big. X is quickly becoming the biggest social media platform. I think it's also becoming one of the biggest crime scenes, but that's another great topic. If they integrate and use payments, you're going to see people actually starting to do that, and it could become one of the largest payment companies in the world. If they leverage crypto, that is mass adoption there and then. Do we know, could we do some quick looking up at how many users X actually currently has? I know YouTube has, I think it's about 2.4 billion monthly. How many users do X have monthly?
611 million.
Now think about that. You know, think about if crypto is adopted by the likes of Elon Musk and of course the X platform. That is instant.
And
global.
this became like a new state of transactions. You know, it reshapes all the financial structure in many ways. How they're gonna pay taxes on certain countries where they're using their payment?
It's very interesting. One thing I can say is that they will come up with a way to make sure they collect those taxes. Pay your taxes, guys. Don't try and avoid that. We've seen Roger Ver, and I think Roger Ver's free now. Is he? Maybe he's not. Maybe he's still in jail. But free Roger Ver is a true kind of bastion for the cryptocurrency space. Sarah, I don't know if you have anything you want to wrap up with on that. Anything you want to say on how the sort of magnitude of all of this?
No, I think it's fascinating. I mean, I think some people I know in the country I'm in, there's a lot of people, and just in general, there's the whole, ooh, Elon Musk, I'm going to boycott X and this and that. And I just think that's ridiculous. You don't want to cut yourself off from this information, this technology, no matter how you feel about him. So, and with the crypto thing too, again, it might make people go like, oh, even more reason why I don't want to. But those are the people that, you know, okay, go over there and stay on wherever you are. And I'm excited to see where things go. And yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, and remember, states are afraid about X. I heard the news yesterday. I was in Italy, okay? Italian news, and they were afraid about what X is doing with elections.
Yeah, same in the UK.
In the UK, in Italy, they now, as the main topic is adopting SpaceX satellites as a communication for the country in Italy. So there's the meetup with Meloni and Elon Musk. They're good friends, let's say this, okay? And, you know,
there's a bit of chemistry there between those two, isn't there, from what I've seen online?
There's some chemistry. They love each other.
Yeah.
They love each other. So, you know, it's an interesting place to be right now, and to see how this year evolves. It's going to be a big year, not for crypto adoption, but for crypto use on platform. And talking again about X and his payment, how many, if this is successful, how many companies will switch from a paid subscription with your currency, local currency, to use their crypto to pay their service? Because they will optimize their revenue, all the flows, and you know, this really can be a massive thing if X is successful doing this.
A game changer, absolutely.
And I'll tell you one country who this is unbelievable. I know there's a lot of countries very scared out there, very worried. But one country that this is amazing for, if you look at America, people always cite the monetary system and the fact that the US dollar is a global reserve currency for its kind of position geopolitically. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But also one reason America is the most powerful country in the world is because of the tech companies that are ultimately under its jurisdiction. Absolutely. That it can squeeze if it needs to, or generate data from, or get data off of. And that's why we don't allow Chinese companies, obviously I'm not in the US, but even in the UK, you know, we typically don't allow Chinese companies tech companies to operate, and vice versa. In China, you don't have.
And let's point out that crypto is database information. So it's data in any way. It's financial data, it's privacy data. You can store whatever in a blockchain, and this is data that is going to use by these companies in a more efficient and difficult for state to control. How you can control transaction over a blockchain that you don't have a voice on it.
Yep. And this is when we get into the arena of banning and things like that. In regards to blockchains being databases, actually, it's quite hard to store on most blockchains. If you look at NFTs, for example, the vast majority of them actually exist on Amazon Web Services. So you actually have, and this is why DePIN is such a big sector, by the way, because there's this irony in Web3 that we actually leverage Web2 more than people realize. We're trying to move away from these technocrats. The problem is actually we leverage Amazon Web Services. The majority of Ethereum nodes run on traditional financial.
Yeah, but there are many platforms like Flux. They are doing decentralization storage. So this is the evolution. That the problem is, okay, you cannot put in a transaction a whole data of an image or a video, but you can decentralize the storage like many projects are doing. And this is the new level then.
And we're getting into DePIN, which is going to bring us perfectly on to our next topic. And that is that SpaceX on the 14th of January this year, so we don't have to wait very long at all. In fact, we're 4 days away, will launch a satellite integrated with post-quantum cryptographic technology powered by Hedera Hashgraph. These satellites are part of WiseSat's deployment, incorporate SEAL Q's advanced chips designed to safeguard against quantum computing threats. We'll talk about quantum computing also. What I want to do actually very quickly, because this is really interesting to me, and if you keep going ahead with that, I'm going to pull up, interestingly, because I don't think many people look at this, SEAL SQ.
It's a big company. It's one of the top 6 company of semiconductors. They do microprocessing, quantum resisting microcontrollers. So this is not a small company. This is a big deal.
And they're leveraging Hedera, which is a big deal for us as Hedera investors. And they're doing that not just because it's gimmicky. Oh, okay, we're leveraging Hedera, cool. With a cool kids on the block that are. They're doing it because it actually solves problems. And I want to talk about those problems in just a second, because Elon Musk already kind of uses stable coins according to the All In podcast. Of course, we're the All In Crypto, and we came around at the same time. Let's not. But this is SEAL SQ Corp's stock. Obviously, since all of this announcement, look at this baby go. It's really found its bottom. Look at all this volume coming in. And is this the power of harnessing distributed ledger? So why will these companies adopt crypto? Well, it's because it's going to make them a better company. Why did Jeff Bezos decide to build a book service on the internet? Because he could have a far wider reach, a bigger audience, et cetera, et cetera. Crypto is very similar. It cost-wise, so on and so forth. Do we have any more on this announcement? So it's going live on the 14th, Egon. What do we think about everything going on, Sarah? I don't know if we've got any more on this.
Yeah, I was reading about it, and I'm like, okay, is this crypto in space, like decentralization beyond Earth, the final frontier? Like why put a blockchain node in space? What's the benefits of that? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, well, this is where we get into the realms of IoT and micropayments, and just the unfit nature that the traditional financial system is sort of in to be able to deal with this. So it was just the other day, Coinbase announced that they had facilitated, I think through Base, the transaction of cryptocurrencies from one AI to another. Now, that can only happen, really, it can happen in the traditional space, but it's so expensive. If you think about a satellite and the data that collects, that data needs to be ran at a very high level or a very high throughput. And actually, if you were to use a traditional payment system to do that, it's no good at all. I think this is going to perfectly bring me on to a clip that I actually have from the All In podcast, which I'm just going to go ahead and pull up, of the individual or the host actually talking about the fact that SpaceX is already using stablecoins for payments, because it's just simply easier. Not only does that mean they don't have to worry about all the kind of putting together of all the different currencies, all the transaction fees, all the remittances that goes on there, it just makes the whole system more seamless and usable. And this actually applies directly to what SEAL SQ, Hedera, and SpaceX are ultimately doing. So if we've got this up, let's go ahead and play this clip because this was really interesting. This is some real insight that most people don't know about. Again, talking about crypto adoption, the fact that it's kind of already here, we're just yet to see it take flight.
The point is that a lot of companies that you would never think. So for example, SpaceX uses these stable coins. How do you think they collect payments from all the Starlink customers when they aggregate them in all of these long tail countries? They don't want to necessarily take the FX risk, the foreign exchange risk. They don't want to deal with sending wires. So what they do is they'll swap into stablecoin, send it back to the United States, and then swap back to US dollars. So it's a very useful utility. So number one is, I think we need to make those rails the standard rails in the United States. And what that does is it allows us to chip away at all of this decrepit infrastructure that the banks use to sort of slow down and tax a process that should never have been taxed.
So he's obviously talking about sort of stable coins there for payments. And we've spoken about that a little bit, X payments, et cetera, et cetera. But actually the same rules really apply for interaction with satellites. And more broadly than that, I mean, we saw with Equity Labs, NVIDIA, I can't remember who the third one was. I don't know if we could pull that up, Egon. Equity Labs, NVIDIA, and who was the other one that was involved in that recent announcement? It was somebody huge. Not that NVIDIA isn't the largest company in the entire world, but somebody also really big. Basically partnered to implement Hedera's kind of quantum-proof technology in their chips that ultimately sort of enable them to do a host of things. This is why crypto is going to get adopted, because it makes the traditional systems, not just financial, better. And we'll talk about this a little bit with the quantum computing argument. But it adds all these really cool, interesting new features. Do we know who the third member of that?
Give me just a second.
When you look at Hedera, the partnerships that they have are, quite frankly, unbelievable. Certainly the implementation of it in regards to SpaceX is a big, big deal. NVIDIA and what they're doing with their kind of chips and how they're leveraging Hedera is huge. This is just the start, guys, as it relates. So, yeah.
So is it safe to say it's like having this in space is almost like a secure verification system for blockchain verification? So it's going to be a lot more secure than anything. And also there's the quantum computing aspect involved in it as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And I really want to get us onto quantum computing, because we all obviously heard about the Willow announcement, and there was a lot of fears around that. You know, Bitcoin is not quantum resistant. Actually, I think one thing people don't talk about with quantum computing is the fact that you shouldn't be worried about blockchains at that point. Okay, yes, some of them are not fit for purpose. Some of them are, by the way, and that's going to be something that's going to push them to mass adoption and us building on top of them. But forget blockchain. Your entire system that we currently use, your banking systems, your social media systems, your everything is injected. So the last thing you want to be worrying about is Bitcoin at that point. Everything goes down if this was used maliciously.
Yeah, just to close, the topic before was Intel, and we done an article over here. So sorry for the delay. I was searching our article. Don't remember to visit allincrypto.com for the latest in crypto. We are publishing daily, massive daily. Quantum compute is a really big thing. First of all, I don't know how many people know what is quantum compute, because normal compute is based on zeros and ones. Quantum computer is based on quant and can have a state other than 0 and 1 that can be a superstate. So superstate means that you have 0 and 1 in a exact same state. That change everything in the compute world, because we are transitioning at the first from the analog systems that were the mechanical computers, writing and tools, to the digital, that is the computer that we are using today. And now we're transitioning to the quantum technology that are infinite, immense, more powerful. It's very hard to explain these topics, but this super state that this quantum computer adopts is like having a box, okay? And if you, in this box, put a cat inside and close it, this is the quantum state, because you see the box, but you don't know if the cat inside is alive, dead, or playing, or whatever. but you know that there is a cat in the box. And this is a super state. It's a very, very easy way to explain this analogy of quantum, but brings such a new vision of compute and will change everything. So as you said, Rupert, Bitcoin is going to be, I think, our last problem if this kicks in, because every encryption system, every medical service, every financial service will be under possible hack with this massive compute power that is going to be launched. I don't know when, but Google, Intel, hundreds of companies are creating their version of this quantum compute. It's going to be massive. So Bitcoin is going to be the last of your problem if this hits the market in a really bad way.
Sarah, I don't know if you understood what Egon said there, because
yeah, kind of. It's a very big topic. It's when I was digging into it, I was listening to a podcast about a new quantum computer called Horizon, which surpasses Google's Willow quantum computing. And I know there's all kinds of fears of if this technology, if we don't catch up to it, it could just bring everything down. But with Horizon, I read that it can develop new encryption methods that are quantum safe. So it ensures the data safety. So they are working on that, which is good. And also what I understood is, how powerful this is. This is just next level, parallel universe kind of shit, which just, I'm like, whoa, brain twisting.
Yeah, because this is based on an atomic level. So it's not based on a chip. The transistor that we are using in the current CPUs are atoms. So this is how powerful it is. And it's a big thing. The good thing is that we are not there yet. And these massive quantum computers have to be stored in a certain temperature in a big room. So it's not something that you plug in your house and you run your quantum compute. It's something very, very complicated to have in your home.
There's a lot. And of course, why are they doing all this? So we've sort of maybe started off on a negative slant towards it all. But actually, they're doing this. I mean, if you look at technology and how it's implemented in our lives and really revolutionized our lives, helped us out. How grateful are we that we have a mobile phone or, a coffee machine or, even primitive, what seems primitive technologies and machines like door sensors,
Yeah, but let's be real. There is business behind this. So
of course.
They're doing for a business purpose. And
why are they doing this though? Why are they doing this? What's the benefits to quantum computing?
That you have exponential more compute power, so you can process research, you can process everything in a better way that we are doing today. Brilliant. This is, it's brilliant, but it's scary. Because it's business oriented also. And imagine if this happens to be in the wrong state, in the wrong company,
the wrong hands,
hands. How are we going to put all this together, And if we attach AI with this,
of course.
That's my God. Yeah.
Scary, very scary. And, AI's got its own problems. The brilliant thing is, and we'll come back to the risks in just a second, because we'll make sure people know what the risks are and the fact that actually crypto is kind of the least of your worry. But the brilliant thing is crypto solves a lot of problems. We have quantum computer resistant cryptocurrencies, which means that those algorithms that run the cryptos can't actually be tampered with and broken by this.
I have to point it out here. I know very little about this, but my question is how they know this without having a quantum computer to test it.
So we'd have to reference the likes of Lehman Baird or Silvio Micali, who of course would be able to, remember Silvio as a Turing Award winner.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm not touching that, but I'm saying, okay, this is the new technology that nobody understands fully and use it in a fully way. So it's under development. So a thing that is under development, so it's not finished. It doesn't have a proper way to work. It's in a way hard to understand how safe we are, It's evolution. I think crypto will adopt as this technology progresses. So I agree with you, but I don't know, in 1 year that technology can be useless because new quantum system is on the horizon. So we need to be careful on this new upcoming technology for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But there are let's take the cryptos at their word and say they're
absolutely. I'm not arguing about that. I'm arguing about the future and this evolution of technology.
It is a great question that you raised, though. How have they actually tested that? Because there's no quantum computers sort of working right now.
You have a document paper that have done the test on the Google.
The newest technology, the
newest technology.
Yeah. This is a really interesting debate, actually. How quantum, sort of safe are they? We know Bitcoin isn't, and the likelihood of Bitcoin being updated to be so is actually quite unlikely. I know there's been a lot of people talking about this, but to bring back to crypto, let's say these cryptos are quantum resistant, which many of them claim to be. Actually, that would mean that these cryptos would be the perfect place. If you look at what ICP and other sort of cryptocurrencies are doing out there, they're literally trying to be the systems that you build what we already do today on the internet, all these great ideas actually on their blockchain. And if they're quantum resistant, actually they become the perfect place to run ideas.
Yeah, I agree, because they can have a boost in compute that will make their network even more secure and more performant at the end of the day.
And even with AI, you've got that provenance in regards to the data. AI can get very scary when you talk about these supercomputers and how they could almost develop a mind of their own, or whatever it may be. Well, actually, you can restrict AI through cryptocurrencies and essentially tokenizing data or knowledge.
And I think quantum compute is going to be very, very important for privacy at this point and for trust of content. It's another topic that we're not going to discuss about it. But if you see privacy, imagine with all this compute power, with all the data we are putting daily on our mobile devices, on our computers, whatever, we need something extremely powerful to track our information and be sure that that information is not going to the wrong hands. And I think blockchain is the only solution, because can create a standard to use for your data. So you can, let's say, when you log into a website, you can use a layer of login that manages your credential and input it to a website and track what they do with all the information. So there are very, very big things that can apply to this, but privacy, I think it's a big, big thing.
And we saw Nokia just the other day actually file a patent for a blockchain phone. Nokia, you remember those things?
Absolutely. Who doesn't remember?
Your phones.
Yeah, they
indestructible phones.
Yeah. So yeah, literally, I mean, that was what they were known as, right? You could throw them off a building and they'd just bounce, and you could, hello, they'd still be there. So, but Nokia, we know this is the beautiful thing. We started off talking about the financial sector, ETFs, things like this. Then we've moved on to a little bit of DePIN and things relating to that. And now we're talking about quantum computing, and we're talking about AI. And the beautiful thing is that crypto finds itself as a missing piece of a lot of these puzzles. So not only is it going to change the traditional financial sector, it's going to change the kind of technological sector, of course. It's going to change social systems. It's going to change telecommunication. It's going to change supply chains. It's going to change gaming. We can go on and on and on. But just very quickly before we move on to the next topic, Sarah, do you have anything to sort of add to any of this?
It's like you guys were saying, like, where does this go? Can it, like, how fast is this going to be created? Could it fall into the right hands? Maybe not so good hands. We have that with everything, just like the beginning days, the early days of the internet. It's sort of we're going through that again, I think, with AI and with the quantum computing. I know in the EU over there, they do have a committee that is they have AI policy that's coming out, and it's like GDPR privacy. It's some of the most robust in the world. It's very fair. It stops AI from taking, like facial identity to access certain things. Like it's pretty good. So I think that it'll take some time for policy to come out and to catch up, but I think the governments will want to keep on top of this. And it's exciting. It's scary and it's exciting. The things that it can do, like something else with Horizon, I found really interesting is the drug discovery. I think Egon mentioned drug discovery, where they can simulate molecular interactions, and it could lead to faster drug developments and treatments for people. And it can also help with AI training and efficiency. So there's so many positive things it can do for us and humanity. But then there's the flip side. Then maybe the government wants to use it to get more control of us. I don't know. So there's a lot there. It's really big, but I also find I love technology, and I think it's really exciting to see where everything goes.
Yeah. And Rupert, I have a question for you, because
here we go.
Yeah. Quantum computer, I think, will end the trading as we know it. Because enables a new layer of performance that we not ever seen. Not any of the computer over here can do something like that.
It's exceptionally
can create simulation of mind thinking people, the best traders, So how can this thing affect the markets? Okay, we usually will invest to protect our investment, And I think that the SP 500, whatever, will stay constant as it is. People will invest, but volatility is going to be crazy. What's your take on that? Or not?
Or not. Yeah, actually, we've seen volatility reduce with the usage of technology. Certainly through increased volume and wash trading and sort of bots or algorithms that run. And there are already trading companies out there that do run algorithms to trade. They'll claim to have an algo. You hear the word quant traders and things like this out there. This is a really interesting debate and a topic to we could do an entire video on this. This is something I've thought about, because certainly as it relates to volume, for example, on a chart, when you look at volume on a chart and you go right the way back, when we look for a breakout, we look for a lot of volume to confirm that breakout. Well, what you'll find is often that volume is quite hard to spot with the likes of some of the big indexes. And that's because volume has been raised generally, because not only do you have investors now betting on the breakout, volume daily is being increased by trading activity through algorithms and things like this. And when you have quantum computing, and the same argument applies to AI, and they're both very much connected, what does that mean for the markets? And this is something I'm kind of unsure about, but also have a lot of thoughts about. Actually, I really work on the premise, and you guys will both know this very well, that markets, of course, are driven by human beings. Now, there might be an increasing machine aspect, but even with those machines are ultimately controlled by individuals. Now, are they going to... For now, yeah. We don't want to get into robot sort of
situation. Because you will become a quantum trading expert. You will need to find that path of what certain amount of quantum bots, whatever, how you call it, will affect. And if they spot something is going to happen before you even realize, they will make the choice for bigger companies with massive volume, trading volume, and can crash entire companies in one day before you know why, and before the news hits. As we talk many times, charts can show you and predict events. You one of the first who told me, Trump is going to win because I saw this oil chart. The
dollar, the crypto
dollar, and so this is like viewing the future. And in a way, stocks are viewing the future. They're investing in a company today because they know tomorrow will do well.
Yeah, It's an amazing question that you raised. The truthful answer I can give is I'm not sure how quantum computing affects things. We already do use computing, but quantum computing, AI, you know, if somebody can create an algorithm that actually, and all being a trader is about is proving that you can make money. The vast majority of traders don't, but if somebody can crack how to use this technology, and making money will be one of the first places it goes to make money through trading the markets, that's going to have an impact on the markets. More people will follow. But when everybody does the same thing, often then it will kind of get trumped, but then they'll be evolving. I'm kind of worried about the whole thing, but I'm also
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Sarah, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, we already kind of see so with meme coin trading, right? I see in my Twitter feed sometimes like, oh, here's this Python code, and you know, you can create your code and you know, kind of game the system of trading these meme coins and making money. So we're in using AI, using ChatGPT, getting these prompts to get this code. So, you know, whether they work or not, I'm not sure. I'm not a programmer. I haven't tried it. Have I been tempted to? Yes, but we're already seeing people using AI to try and game some of these financial systems that are out there, whether, you know, legitimate or not. It's already happening.
Yep. And I think anybody that used to play, and I'll be sort of revealing how much of I'm releasing my inner geek here. I obviously used to play World of Warcraft. Not ashamed to say it, by the way, guys. RuneScape. So we're going even further down that rabbit hole. And you have bots in these games that actually what they do is that, and this is going to bring us perfectly onto gaming. In fact, no, first we're going to take a look at Algorand. But you have bots in these games, right? You're going to have real life bots enabled by quantum computing and AI that will actually go out into the real world. And instead of making gold in WoW or whatever it was in RuneScape, they're going to be doing that in the real world. And they're going to be programmed to do so. And actually markets are somewhere they're going to do that. Things like drop shipping, things like capturing social media trends, influencing. The world that we're moving towards, guys, is just, most people don't even know what's coming. But it will hit you, and it'll hit you like a ton of bricks. And it's kind of like with phones, even a mobile phone. I remember when mobile phones weren't really a thing. And now what's the average sort of, do we know? Could we get that stat up, Egon, actually? That's an interesting stat for the viewers. How many hours a day on average do people spend on their mobile phone? We spend a lot of time because of the game that we're in. But I wonder if we can figure out what the average participation on, or the average sort of screen time, it's called, on a mobile phone is. It's got to be. Let's take a guess before you reveal it. Whoa.
I have the number. Over here.
Let me and Sarah take a guess. I'm going to say 3 to 4 hours on average. Sarah?
Okay, Sarah?
I'd say 2 to 3 hours per day.
2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Please blow us away. Please say 8 or something.
6 hours and 40 minutes.
No, who's spending that time on their phones? What are they doing?
Based on 5 billion users.
Wow.
Seriously? Wow.
6
hours of your day. So you're probably sleeping 8 hours, right? Then 6 hours on your phone.
Yeah,
so...
but let's be honest. How many times we spend on our mobile phones? Even calling, texting, seeing your videos, you know?
Well, that's us. But we're talking. Let's just take a normal person. You know, they've got a 9 to 5. They have to sleep. You know, they have to be at a 9 to 5 from 9 to 5. You know what?
Rupert, the TV is not a thing anymore, as was before.
That's true.
YouTube. So it's not only about YouTube. It's about everything. If you want to pay somebody, if you want to check your bank account, if you want to buy something on Amazon, imagine how much people will spend on Amazon to try and buy the gift for Christmas. Do you think it's 20 minutes?
Of course. Yeah, but how many gifts are they buying? You know, but then again, they're watching.
You're searching for the best price. You're searching for reviews. Then you go to YouTube. Then you're sick. You go to Twitter about viewing the All in Crypto post. Then you go to our website. You know, there are many things going on in a day. You know, if you replicate your behavior on a daily basis.
And a lot of people don't have computers either, right? A lot of people just do everything from their phones. I have a lot of friends that do that, and I'm a little bit surprised, but that's how they, that's their technology thing. So
we are an older generation, but the new generation, the youngest, I don't know. I was super happy when I have my PSP. I don't know if you have it, Rupert One. Oh my God, I have a device that I can play in bed. But now you have a phone. You play with your phone. I have friends with my age that play with their phones. That is a little bit quite, strange. But yeah, there is a kind of people. If you play, I don't know, Fortnite, the majority of the audience is playing on the phone or things like this. So it's a big topic.
Yeah, maybe not Fortnite. I may or may not dabble in Fortnite every now and then. It's definitely still the consoles that hold weight there. But
let's check that. Let's check that.
Confident in this. But an interesting stat whilst you're finding those stats is eyesight. You'll notice I have glasses on my head to correct my vision. If you look at eyesight in younger people, they've never, we've essentially got the worst eyesight humanity has ever seen in regards to a population. And a lot of people are speculating that there's a direct link there with screen time. In fact, so much so that they've developed a contact lens for younger people that will essentially stop them getting worse in terms of their eyesight over time. Look this up. It's big in China and Asia at the moment, and it's started to come over to the West. So if you've got kids that have got glasses, it might be worth inquiring with your optician about this. But they've created contact lenses, which essentially, I don't quite know how they do it, but it will stop you getting worse in terms of your eyesight over time. And they developed this because so many people have bad eyesight. Everyone's wearing glasses now because, we spend probably so much time on our screens. There is, of course, a genetic element to that, a biological element to that, but actually what we do with our eyes and the screen times is a bit of an issue. But Egon,
I'm still searching about. There are many stuff.
So what he's actually trying to do is find an article that agrees with him and not the first 10 or 15 that come up that have agreed with the fact that it's still a console thing. So yeah, it's a very interesting world that we're moving towards. We'll get that stat up. But whilst you're doing that, Egon, it's great for us to move on to our next topic. And that is Algorand staking. Are we a fan of Algorand here? I certainly am.
I'm new to it, but I've been watching the videos and I'm very curious. It looks like they have a lot of good things that are happening. So my curiosity has piqued.
Yeah, for sure. And we were lucky enough to have Stacey Warden, who's the CEO of the Algorand Foundation. What an amazing, if I could pick a CEO, it would be her. She was an unbelievable. It was really a joy to have a conversation with her about Algorand, some of the things that they're trying to do. And we'll be releasing that interview next week. And why the interview for me really stood out was because, again, just like in this show, we've discussed lots of areas where crypto is investing, embedding itself and changing things. But something like Algorand, in that interview, we'll go from things like airline tickets to tokenizing debt, to using debt for payments, to supply chains, to whatever it may be. Egon, you obviously sat in whilst I was interviewing Stacey.
Absolutely. Really smart person. So really enjoyed to be on the behind of the scenes and listen to her. So amazing interview. Can't wait to edit it for sure and then get ready to go and share it. Maybe next week. What do you think?
Yeah, next week we'll probably release that on a Thursday or something like that. We'll get lots of clips and stuff out because it was, if you're into Algorand, but if you're into crypto more broadly, you should, these things are well worth watching. From a CEO.
And also we have some rumors when staking is coming. So
leave it to you, perhaps, Egon, to maybe explain. Algorand's going through many changes this year. You've got Algo Kit, you've got obviously the staking, you've got the governance, et cetera, et cetera. We discussed that in the video. But one thing is staking. Staking is a very interesting topic when it comes to the cryptocurrency space. Egon, maybe I'll let you sort of explain.
Absolutely. So first of all, you will find a lot of articles on our website over here. So we talk about the staking upcoming this month or maximum Q1. So staking is a really easy thing on Algorand right away. So you can set up a node at your home, in your place, with a not too expensive machine. So the requirements are 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabyte NVMe. So it's a faster disk, let's say it like this, and a 8-thread CPU. So this is the requirements to install the software to do the staking of Algorand. 30,000 Algorand is needed to stake a node. But there is other possibilities. We're gonna go deep into this one. You can use your Mac, you can use your Windows PC, and you can make a Linux server. So it's pretty straightforward. I think the machine that, because we are staking, Rupert, you know.
Yeah, we have stake pools. Yeah.
We are preparing it. Yeah, there are nodes. So we are preparing 2 machines. And let's say one machine for Algorand can cost you about $500 approximately. You have to have this is the important thing. You have to have the super fast. If you have it, 1 gig of connection of your network at home to run a node. This is a requirement from the Algorand staking documentation. You can find it on the Algorand Foundation documentation. How to stake. So you have all the information there. It was pretty easy to install and set up everything. Nodes are running, but you are not getting rewards until they release it. There will be an extra bonus.
It's an incentive, and actually they're bootstrapping it. So if you want to set up a node, you'll get extra rewards for doing so. For obviously the validation that you do. It's for me, staking is. And again, when we talk about ETFs, how appealing is an ETF where you can get 6% returns on something that's going up? We haven't even discussed any of this. Sarah, do you do any staking? Is staking something that tickles your fancy? What are your thoughts on staking?
No, I don't. I'll say that I am just learning about it. When I bought Cardano for the first time a number of years ago, I looked into it, but I did not do it, and I'd say that it's still a new topic to me, and I'm learning, but I'm very curious about it because I'm seeing the rewards that it can bring by, I guess, is it like kind of like reinvesting your crypto and making money off of it, almost like you're investing and you're getting interest off of it? Is that a good comparison, or?
Yes. Sort of. No, yeah, absolutely, sort of. Cardano as well. We've been running a Cardano stake pool, or I've been running a Cardano stake pool since you've been able to, really. In fact, no, 2020, 2021, something like that. It's basically just you give your cryptos to helping, in a proof of stake system, consent the network, and you get rewarded for doing so. So yeah, you're earning an interest on your cryptos. It is just exactly that, which they're still trying to figure out how that's taxed, and that differs from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But why not, if you've already got these cryptos, earn 6-7%? If you want to hold them for a long period, staking's a really cool thing, and it also helps secure the network.
What about what about getting it out though? Like, can it be locked up?
Depending on what protocol. So Cardano has no locks. It's very much liquid staking. So the second you get it, you can get it and sell, and you could do that with your overall stake as well. But some systems, Ethereum has a lockup, for example. There are quite a few systems out there. Polkadot has a 28-day lockup. Yeah, absolutely.
But Algorand, let's say, doesn't have a lockup. So
similar to Cardano. And actually, John was the CTO of Cardano before he ended up at Algorand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Because that would be kind of, I don't know, a bit concerning if you can't take it out when you want to. I don't really like that. So I guess that's a good thing about Algorand and Cardano, that option is there. It sounds like a really good benefit of it.
There's so many benefits to these chains, and certainly staking alone is one, but actually the ease of it, the usability. We'll do lots of things talking people through all of that. We'll maybe even sort of talk you through how we've set our nodes up. Obviously, 30,000 Algorand. I don't know what that's going to cost you. I think that's about $8,000-9,000 right now. I know for me it was
maybe 8,000 right now. Yeah.
But that's not dollars, so that would have been pounds for me. What was it? 6-7 grand, something like that. It might have been, something along those lines.
Pretty expensive, but if you get 7%, let's say, an example return, if the price increase on that 7%, you will also gain the price appreciation. So that is also
something to bear in mind.
Yeah,
bear in mind. Absolutely.
Better than my savings account with the bank.
Absolutely, and at least your Algorand should be going up and not, getting you less of a loaf of bread as time goes on. So let's move on now, unless there's anything else you want to say, either of you on Algorand staking.
No.
The
crypto gaming stuff.
Crypto gaming.
Yeah, we done an article on GTA 6, include Bitcoin and crypto. The possibility is slim, but there is a whole topic over here. Of course, who doesn't know, GTA 6 is one of the biggest games upcoming, so it's not released for now, but it's one of the most played games, I think, in the world. Correct me on that. I don't know, Rupert, you have played a little bit of GTA?
Of course, I grew up playing GTA, you know, certainly even
Who
when I
doesn't?
wasn't able to purchase it and had to get somebody else to purchase it for me. So I love the GTA franchise. Rockstar games are amazing as well. I enjoyed all the Red Dead stuff. But this is probably going to be one of the biggest game launches ever. I truly believe we've been playing GTA 5 now for a hell of a long time and it's still doing well. This is going to be unbelievable. And the reason that we're talking about this is there's been a lot of speculation that is there going to be a crypto element to it? And some people say, well, why may they be a crypto element to it? So maybe I'll let either one of you talk about why a game would harness distributed ledger technology.
Yeah. If you see how games have changed in the couple of past 5-6 years, they went from, you buy the license, you buy your CD, you buy it on Steam, and you play it. Nothing in the game you have to purchase, add-ons, and so on. And they change it now to free to play. I was talking about Fortnite before. You can buy skins, you can buy weapons, you can buy a lot of things going on the game. And this is, sometimes it's more expensive than the game itself, So I think there is a market, a really interesting market can get a lot of attention, including crypto space. Because imagine that you use a crypto to trade, to buy stuff on a game. The developers will be super happy because they will make more money because they don't have to rely on secondary markets, taxes, things. Okay, taxes will be a thing, but I think in a more easy way for them. But also, you will have the ownership of the weapon, the NFT. Let's call it like it's going to be an NFT. So you can sell it. Also, there is a possibility for interoperability of skins. You can maybe use that skin and put it to another game that is, I don't know, under the head of a certain company. I don't know, Epic Games. If Epic Games enable a crypto transaction thing all over all these games, can be a massive marketplace that occurs. And also, you can sell this. Currently, when you buy a skin, you're stuck with it. You cannot, sell it and make some money. And that is interesting. A lot of people play, and also play to earn opens a wide application in the space. I will leave a couple of words maybe to Sarah, what she thinks about this.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Egon. Like, it could enhance missions. People could potentially make money off of the sale of, their NFTs. I was comparing it to Second Life, the OG metaverse, where with Linden's, you can go in there and DJ and people can tip you with Linden's. You can be a creator. So there's a whole creator economy within Second Life, which I could see happening in video games as well, where people are creating different skins, different products that you can buy, and then you could resell them. So maybe it opens it up for, a whole other little market within these video games. I did DJ inside of Decentraland a few years back, and that was an interesting experience. I could buy my NFT skins, my little DJ clothes, and like little wings, whatever. And it was a little janky. It was a little weird, but it was the same kind of idea where, it was run on the blockchain and you could be a creator, you could buy and sell items. So I really see that with the video games, it'll probably happen. It's gonna happen, but I can see all the benefits of it. I guess maybe the negatives is again just how are they going to implement that? The volatility with the crypto, like the complexity, the implementation, but I guess that's for the developers, et cetera, to figure out. So I can maybe understand why it hasn't been implemented yet, because it's quite complex. It's not like Linden Labs where it's their own exchange. That's not crypto. In these gamings, it would be crypto, so it's a little more complex. But I can see the example of Second Life and Decentraland, those being used in games. So I think I think it's something that's it's exciting, and it opens up a lot more opportunities for the gamers.
Have we seen Ready Player One?
Yes.
So, I mean, are we going to move into some sort of a futuristic world like that? I mean, I'm not sure I'd enjoy that. I like nature. I think that's an opportunity. Nature actually is getting people back to it. But
who does care about nature?
Who what? Sorry.
Who doesn't care about nature right now? No, sorry, it was a joke.
A lot of people, I think. But no, it's we're moving towards, again, going back to screen time. 6 hours a day on a screen. Well, how many more hours would people spend on that screen like we do if you could make money from it?
So let me do a research. How many times people game?
How many hours people spend on game? Now, imagine if you could actually make money off that. And people already do make money off that. Look at all those streamers out there and people like that. And actually, if there was some sort of an in-game economy, not only is ownership really cool, but the prospect of making money is, I believe, for some people, even cooler. And actually, could you imagine if you could, just like with Axie Infinity, what we saw was people in South Korea literally quitting their jobs because they were making more money on this game than they were making going to work, probably in a job that they hated.
And imagine role play games like it's GTA. You can buy a car. It's a multiverse with the VR you put on your headset. You have a new economy.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
No.
This is fascinating. So I interrupted to give you the stat that it's 5 hours a day for the gamers. Heavy gamers, let's say, an average.
Yeah.
And worldwide, it's spent about 6.5 hours a week.
Okay, not too bad. I could see myself falling into that category.
Yeah, a couple of hours in a week, I think, But younger people, I think they spend way, way more.
Yeah, and they would spend a lot more if they could make money off of what they were doing. The prospect of young people now want to become streamers. Or young people might not even have to become streamers.
Yeah, so the success of Twitch, as an example.
YouTube, Twitch, all of these. So imagine if you could make money from these games. People would spend all day long on them. You'd have entirely new economies. Then when you compound AI and all this, I mean, it's just craziness that we're going into. But distributed ledgers do truly help gaming, ownership, interoperability between games, of course, also because then you have this ledger where it exists, so you don't need to all you really need is an API. I think one of the barriers to entry, I don't know if you've got any sort of questions on this, Sarah, before I move on.
Yeah, I think it's just how it'll be implemented. Okay, how long do you think it'll take for crypto to be implemented? And, what could be some of the obstacles that there is implementing crypto into these games?
Regulations for sure. How do you account for taxes? If you make £1,000 selling this, that's a nightmare. But actually then when we talk about stable coins, they can almost have programmability. We're getting George Orwellian now in regards to taxes and things like that. There's a whole load of barriers that need to be overcome. But I think if the price is right, people will do it. And that's what I think we're going to see is people going, okay, we'll do this because it's worth doing. It's going to be a bit of a pain. We're going to have to work with things. I think one of the main barriers really would be how easy it is to do. We spoke with Moonbeam that were working, they've got a big GameFi sort of strategy. And they said, actually, what we're focused on is making the experience easy because a lot of game companies out there are doing just fine. They don't see a need to do so. The real breakthrough moment comes when somebody actually harnesses DLT and becomes the top game, and then other people have to fall in line, just like Jeff Bezos doing that with Amazon, and people going, "Oh, right, okay, we should probably start doing e-commerce rather than in-house shopping." Everyone has to get online. So there's a lot of barriers, incentive, regulatory compliance, taxes. ease of application. But these are all getting worked on, and there are people working on each sector of this, and it only takes that one breakthrough game for us to just, go.
Do you think
that would be great?
2025 we'll see big games? I have played one of the games launched on
Avalanche.
Yeah, how it's called? Let me find it. Off grid.
Yep. Now I do believe. Yeah. Now that popped for a little bit. I think there was a lot of streamers getting paid out there to do so, and the Web3 element hadn't quite been fully implemented there. But if that resurges and actually people through playing the game start to make real money and gain status, imagine a Fortnite equivalent where you playing and winning actually results in you making money. It's over. Everybody's quitting their jobs. Everybody's doing this.
Me too.
Yeah. No more CryptoWave Show, guys. This was the first and last episode.
We're gonna stream games. How we make money.
All right.
I think also too, to add to it, is that it could also open, like right now for musicians and DJs, the whole music industry right now isn't doing very well. People aren't getting paid. Spotify, that's messy. So if there's a way, like in say Decentraland or even in Second Life, they have virtual clubs. So you go in there and DJ and, play your guitar or whatever, bang your drums. And then you have the avatars come in that are real people, obviously behind the avatars. And then they can tip you with, Lindens and, and then also in Decentraland. I'm not sure if that's a thing yet, but imagine that you can perform, do your art, and you're being tipped with crypto. So that opens up a whole other industry there for artists and performers. And I think that's something that the arts and entertainment community really needs for creators that aren't, say you're in Canada and TikTok, there's another example of content creation. You can get paid for creating content, which is great. In Canada, Australia, you can't. So you have to find other ways as a content creator to make money. So again, maybe this adapting crypto into gaming, it'll go further into different music platforms and performance platforms that can really help the artist community out. So I also see that as an evolvement too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I spoke with somebody that's in the music industry, and they were talking about how actually the copyright system we have here in the UK is just like the banking system, well and truly outdated. And in regards to royalties and everything that comes off the back end of that, you need to go to a physical office in London, and they only open these certain amount of times, and you've got to do all this kind of archaic, outdated stuff, and that's kind of how it runs. It's a nightmare, and there's always issues with who gets what, et cetera, et cetera. Put a DLT in there and we'll take care of all of it. And then certainly what you're saying about virtual performances, huge. Could you imagine a concert where all you need is a VR set and you're there at a Taylor Swift? I'm using Taylor Swift because obviously she's a big buzzword.
Oh my God, Rupert.
No, that's not
revealing revealing my favorite artist here. No, I'm joking. Imagine going to that concert,
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that? Can you think of reasons why you'd want to go to a virtual concert, Sarah?
Yes, because I don't want to be around crowds of people. Maybe it's a snowstorm.
I would love how I can meet new girls. Nobody hearing me right now, but this is a thing for our young people. You want to catch up, meet up. I don't know. It's a problem. It's an issue.
I think there's a lot of appeal. What happens if you're over the other side of the world and Taylor Swift, to use her continuously, is playing in America? Well, you can be there now, and it might be a fraction of the price of going and seeing it live. How many people would spend their evening, their night doing that, and having a drink at home or whatever? I'm sure, and it seems far-fetched. It seems outdated. It seems out of touch, or not outdated, but it seems out of touch. No, look how many hours people spend on their phone. Look how many hours people spend on games. Look how many hours, people don't spend in the real world already.
Yep.
And if you are good, you will make money in this space. If you're good at gaming, crypto will pay you.
Yeah,
performing. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And all the artists, they are not getting the visibility, or that not get paid because these massive companies like Spotify, YouTube Music, okay, it's
a monopoly, right? They have a monopoly over the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll give smaller creators more of a chance, which is needed. And I also like the idea too, like going back to the virtual concert where, maybe it opens up new connections. You can connect with other people in other parts of the world. I kind of like that idea too. So just some thoughts.
No, absolutely. No, I think this is all very interesting. It's very it's an interesting world that we're moving towards. I think people would have definitely got that from this show. So really, I'm going to start to unwind things and wrap things up. So I don't know if either of you have anything else that you want to share before we sort of start to do an outro, or?
No, I really want to hear some messages, voice messages from our listeners, So remember to check out connect.allincrypto.com, and can't wait to hear some questions for the next week episode.
Yeah, guys, we really want you to do that. I think that's going to be a real funny segment of the show, but serious at the same time. I want to know what you guys want to know. Are there questions on your mind? Have you picked up on what we said on concerts? And, maybe you've got an idea to do that, or you've got a really cool opinion on that. Do you know something about GTA 6? Are they going to use cryptos? Do you know more about some of the Hedera, SpaceX, and more broadly how the future of satellites is going to work? What do you think about the year ahead of us? Have you got questions on certain projects? We want to know all of that. Sarah, any closing thoughts from yourself?
No, I'm excited about the space. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to hear what kinds of questions people have. Like myself, I'm learning. I'm always learning. So, don't be afraid to ask anything, because I'm always asking, and that's how you learn. So I'm looking forward to the days ahead, the months ahead, the years ahead, to see where things go and evolve.
Yep, we're all very excited. And don't worry, guys, we'll be bringing you more of the CryptoWave Show on a weekly basis. You can, of course, catch this show on YouTube, but of course, all the associated or all the used podcasting platforms, Twitter, Twitch, we're all over the place, guys. So become a subscriber if you've enjoyed this show. More of a chilled out format, really just discussing things that are happening within the crypto space in more of a long chat-like way. And I'm very excited to introduce to you guys two individuals that are going to be joining me regularly. I really do thank both of you for spending the time with me talking about crypto, which isn't everybody's cup of tea, but we got into lots of other interesting issues. So I want to thank both my co-hosts, of course, Egan and Sarah, and I'm going to love and leave all of